All right, hi. Sorry, this is my third time recording this lesson. I'm having a lot of technical issues. The first time I recorded it and I enlisted the help of all my people and it didn't save. Second time I just recorded it and it was almost flawless, but it didn't pick up my voice, just the other Zoom participants. So it missed what I was saying. So for this third time, I'm just going to state everything that I said in the video and include the actual active lesson. So I'll go through this one kind of quickly and also post my video, which was much longer. The actual lesson was longer, and you can hear the participants' voices. So in the beginning of my lesson, I checked in with a weekly check-in. I asked everyone to answer one of the three questions. They answered, just a nice little alternative for a morning meeting for the upper grades. For the warm up, I had them spell three hard words, and if they misspelled any of them, they would get a 0 out of 100. And I did this for a reason. And I told them the three words they had to spell. It was pneumonia, it was resuscitate, and then the last one was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So just three harder words. Then I told them it was a prank, and I asked them about how they reacted and how they felt. And then I told them that it was a pop quiz. Because this lesson's an introduction to our new unit. And our new unit will have the essential question of how much of life is what happens to you versus how you react. And then I talked about how a lot of the stories and the texts that we're going to be reading in this unit are going to connect to this question. We'll be analyzing how characters reacted and how that impacted the plot. I asked them if they agreed or disagreed with the question, or if they thought that life is what happens to us versus how we react, or if they thought maybe life just happens and our reactions don't impact it much. Then I told them that we're going to be referring to this graphic a lot in the unit. This is called the circle of concern, and it basically just depicts the things in the middle are the things that we have complete control over, like our words and our thoughts and our actions. Then the blue part of the circle is our circle of influence. Those are the things we might be able to persuade or nudge or have some kind of influence on, but not complete control. And then the things out here are things that are completely out of our control. We're going to talk about how some of our characters are going to go through all three of these things, and we're going to analyze how that impacts their reactions and what they do. I gave an example of my life when I had something happen out of my control and I reacted positively, and it led to a positive outcome. And then I also talked about something in my life in middle school when I reacted poorly and then it snowballed into something worse. Back when MySpace was a thing. Sorry, I'm a millennial. Then I asked them to tell me about a time in their life something happened out of their control and how they reacted, and you can hear their answers in my first video. Then I have three videos of movies where something happens out of the character's control and the character reacts in a certain way. So this is a very famous Hunger Games, the scene where the names get picked out of the bowl and Katniss's sister Prim gets picked and she says, I volunteer as tribute. So I opened up the discussion of what happened, what was out of the character's control versus how they reacted. A Harry Potter scene where they get stuck in Devil's Snare, and Devil's Snare will only let you go if you are relaxed, and Ron doesn't relax, and Hermione does. And then a scene from The Pursuit of Happiness where Will Smith finally gets a corporate interview, but he was in jail after painting his house, and he shows up to the interview like that and still is able to persuade them to hire him. Then we talked about people who reacted positively, and I introduced the term adversity. and how people can overcome adversity, and we'll be talking about that a lot. So we have Malala here, Nelson Mandela. Some of them didn't know who Claudette Colvin was, so I explained she was the first, like, Rosa Parks, but the NAACP did not want to have her be the spokesperson for the civil rights movement because she was a pregnant teen. I opened up the discussion to someone they knew who reacted positively to adversity and negatively, and you can hear their answers in the video. I talked about how Tanya Harding was my example. Then I talked about the Salem witch trials. This is where I also introduced that a lot of the nonfiction texts that we're going to read in this unit are directly related to hysteria, and how hysteria is a very bad negative human reaction. And we'll be reading a lot of text about that. And then I kind of close by overviewing what to expect in the unit. We're going to be reading fictional stories where the characters' reactions play a part in the plot. We'll also be analyzing real events focused on reactions. And then we're going to end the unit by controlling our own reactions, and we're going to practice public speaking. Then in the chat, they have to finish the lesson by reflecting on one of these two questions in 3 to 5 paragraphs. Either think about a life event that happened to you that was out of your control. How could your life have changed if you reacted differently? And number 2, what's a historical event or moment that could have been different if that person or group of people reacted differently? So then I would just go over their answers with them, read it with them, and close out the lesson. Sorry again for all the technical issues, but